can attend to the consultancy, goods, and of course, infra. And we have the head of the TWG, Engineer Sulaiman Medaya. And of course, we also have, we also have Engineer Renette Rahida, OIC for the procurement. We also have Engineer Merlin Alcaregos, also the Bank Secretariat, and Paulo Palmones from the Bank Secretariat. So as we proceed, the eligibility requirements are as follows. Eligibility of prospective bidders is determined using the Civil Works Application or CWA, which electronically processes the compliance with Class A documents as the legal, technical, and financial documents. Prospective bidders are encouraged to regularly update the respective records in the CWA on the following requirements. Letter A, Class A documents. Legal documents 1, registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, the corporate organizations, the Department of Trade and Industry for sole proprietorship, or the Cooperative Development Authority for cooperatives. For another Class A documents, and legal documents, number 2 is mayor's business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas. In cases of recently expired mayor's business permits, it shall be accepted together with the official receipt as proof that the bidder has applied for the renewal within the period prescribed by the concerned local government unit, provided that the renewed permit shall be submitted as a post-qualification requirement in accordance with Section 34.2 of the IRR of RA 9184. Number 3, tax clearance per Executive Order 3980 of 2005 as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Technical documents, number Roman numeral 4, statement of the prospective bidder of all its completed and ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Technical documents, Roman numeral 5, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contracts, SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid except under conditions provided for in Section 23.4.2.4b of the IRR of RA 9184. All of the above statements, 4 and 5, shall include all information required in the pre-bid is prescribed by the GPPP. 23.4.2.4, the prospective bidders must have completed an SLCC that is similar to the contract to be bid in whose value, adjusted to current price using the PSA consumer price indices, must be at least 50% of the ABC to be bid. Provided, however, the contractors under small A and small B categories without similar experience on the contract to be bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is not more than the allowable rates of contract cost or ARCC of the registration based on the guidelines as prescribed by the PCAM. Under 23.4.2.4, moreover, a contract shall be considered similar to the contract to be bid if it has the same major categories of work. The procuring entity may clarify in the bidding documents what is regarded as major categories of work. For the inter-DPW's determination of major categories of work are defined in Department Order 117, Service of 2017, 23.4.2.5. The SLCC shall be supported by an owner's certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the contractor's performance evaluation system or CPES. In case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. Number 6, valid Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or PCAB license or special PCAB license in case of joint ventures and registration for the type of the cost for the contract to be bid. Financial documents, number 7, the prospective bidders audited financial statements showing, among others, the prospective bidders' total in current assets and liabilities, stamp receipts with the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than the 2 years from the date of bid submission. Number 8, the prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, or NFCC. 23.4.2.6, a computation of a prospective bidder's NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC to be bid, calculated as follows. NFC is equals to current assets minus current liabilities times 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started coinciding with the contracts to be bid. The values of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities should be based on the latest audited financial statements submitted to the BIR. For Class B documents, joint ventures shall submit a GBA in accordance with RA 4566 and its IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit the respective code certificates of registration in accordance with Section 8.5.2 of the IRR of RA 9184. The submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitute compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall as well submit the statement of all its ongoing contracts and bid security as applicable bid security declaration. Sample format of bid security declaration must be notarized. Bid security declaration, contract ID number, name of the contract, location, the Department of Public Works and Highways, Regional Office, 5 Old Airport Road, Barangay 40, Cruzada, LEGAZPI City. Technical documents must contain or BRI blank declare that number 1, I understand that according to your conditions, bids must be supported by a bid security which may be in the form of a bid security declaration. Number 2, I accept that A, B, or I will be automatically disqualified from bidding for any contract with any procuring entity for a period of 2 years upon receipt of your blacklisting order. And letter B, or I will pay the applicable fine provided under Section 6 of the guidelines of the use of bid security declaration within 15 days from receipt of the written demand with the procuring entity for the commission of acts resulting to the enforcement of the bid security declaration under Section 23.1, paragraph B, 34.2, 40.1, and 69.1, except 69.1, paragraph F of the IRR of RA 9184. Without prejudice to other legal action the government may undertake. Number 3, I understand that the bid security declaration shall cease to be valid of the following circumstances. Letter A, upon expiration of the bid validity period or any extension thereof pursuant to your request. Letter B, or I are declared ineligible or post disqualified upon receipt of your notice to such effect, and B or I failed to timely file a request for reconsideration, or the B or I filed a waiver to avail of said right. The letter C, we or I are declared as the bidder with the lowest calculated responsive bid, and we or I have furnished the performance security and signed the contract wherein the jurat will be as follows: in the witness whereof we or I have hereunto set my hands this blank day of blank at blank, the place where you have your notarization, and of course the signature of the applicant. Next, please, another technical documents, duly signed organizational chart, duly signed list of key personnel for the contract with supporting affidavits of commitment to work on the contract by the key personnel, duly signed list of contractors, major construction and laboratory equipment pledged to the contract, and omnibus sworn statement. Also, for the financial requirements, duly signed bid form, duly signed bill of quantities including summary of bid prices, duly signed initial detailed estimates, duly signed cash flow by partner. We also have further instruction, clarification on the submission of technical and financial documents. For those who wish to use bid security declaration or DSD as bid security, use the new format of Department Memorandum Circular 85 series of 2020, uploaded in the PhilGIPS and DPWH websites. Similarly, use the uploaded new omnibus form statement format that contains addendum enclosely pertaining to the declaration of non-inclusion in the blacklist and an additional declaration as closed and pertaining to the advance payment. Prospective bidders are required to use the appropriate and correct format of the omnibus form statement pertaining to the authority of the signatory according to the type of the business organization, for example, civil proprietorship, corporate, cooperative, or joint venture. Failure to do so will be treated as misdeclaration by the prospective bidder and will be a ground for the non-compliance of the bid. Further instruction clarifications on the submission of technical and financial documents. Prospective bidders are reminded of the provision in the invitation to bid that equipment capacity as specified in the bid data sheet shall be mandatory. In absence of the same shall disqualify the contractor. All requirements stated in the bid data sheet are mandatory. Hence, in the same manner that the items of work in the corresponding quantities involved are fixed and mandatory in the deal of quantities, the type of equipment, respective capacities, and number of units required are also mandatory in the list of equipment pledged for the contract. Failure of the prospective bidder to state a complete technical description of the pledged equipment in a specific location, whether owned, leased, or under purchase agreement, shall result in the bidder's automatic false disqualification. The TWG or the technical working group shall conduct inspection on the pledged equipment as their availability and efficiency. Equipment pledged for one awarded project shall not be pledged to another project bid out on the same date or immediate date after the bidding of the awarded project. Equipment pledged on several projects bid out on the same date wherein the bidder is potentially the winner of these projects will be ground for the bidder's post-disqualification in the other projects. Review documents to be submitted to avoid ineligibility in non-compliance of bid. Check the validity of permits, licenses, registrations, and clearances. Check the completeness as to form and substance of the bid, security, affidavits, declaration, and other notarized documents. For instruction clarification and the submission of technical and financial documents also include the use the new bid form for infrastructure GPPB resolution number 16/2020 and circularized in the DPWH Department Order 85 series of 2020. All entries required in the bill of quantities, such as those for the unit price in words and in figures, and the total price for the item for both lump sum and non-lump sum items of work should be properly billed up. Absence of any of the said required entries will be ground for non-compliance finding on the bid. It shall be considered violation under 2C of the 17 series of 2015 to be strike policy in the procurement of contracts for civil works, goods, and consulting services. Absence of signature on any page of the bill of quantities qualify as one of the violations contemplated in Department Order number 17 series of 2015 and as reiterated in section 8.6.4 restart policy as ground for the disqualification of the bid. However, the TWD shall make corrections in the bid incorporating therein the correct percentages, amounts for the indirect costs per section 22 of the IRR of RA 9184 and BO 17 series of 2015. The resulting total shall be considered as the corrected bid. Awards shall be made to the submitted bid price or its calculated corrected bid price whichever is lower. Lump sum cost in the bill of quantities must be supported with detailed cost estimate showing the direct and indirect costs including tax. Provision of overhead, contingencies, and miscellaneous OCM for special items under the general requirements and facilities for the engineer shall not be accepted. Discounts offered in handwritten text in the bid form should be signed or initialed by the authorized managing officer who is authorized to sign the bid documents. Otherwise, the discount will not be accepted. Erasures, intermination, overwriting, and alteration in any documents should likewise be signed, initialed by the authorized managing officer. Brief explanation on the criteria for eligibility screening, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, and cost qualification. Process and criteria for eligibility processing shall be in accordance with sections 23.1 and 23.4.2 of the revised IRR of RA 9184 and the contract profile based on DO 117 series of 2017 revised guidelines for the determination of major and similar categories of work. Electronic eligibility processing through the Civil Works application or CWA shall be conducted simultaneously or ahead of the opening of the technical documents depending on the consistency of the network connectivity of the CWA. Preliminary examination of bids shall be conducted in accordance with Section 30 of the revised IRR of RA 9184. Bids that fail to include any requirement from the checklist or are incomplete or patently insufficient shall be considered as failed. Detailed evaluation of bids shall be in accordance with Section 32 of the revised IRR of RA 9184. Bids shall be checked as to completeness, arithmetical corrections will be performed, as computational errors and omissions will be corrected to enable proper comparison equal 184. Verification, validation, and ascertainment of all statements made and documents submitted by the bidder with the lowest calculated bid using non-discretionary criteria as stated in the bidding documents covering the legal, technical, and financial requirements. The provisions of the revised IRR of RA 9184 in the DPWH procurement manual to infrastructure shall govern the procurement. Instructions in the purchase of bidding documents. Only the owner of the firm or the authorized representatives named in the CRC shall be allowed to transact business related to bidding matters and purchase bidding documents per Department Order 176 series of 1993 and as reiterated in DO 1987 series of 2001. Those representatives not included in the CRC are required to submit special power of attorney or SPA or secretary certificate whichever is applicable. The authorized representative issued with SPA or secretary certificate shall be required to present two valid government-issued identification cards or IDs and a print-out copy of the document request list or DRL from the field gives posting of the contract to be bid showing the name of the construction firm. The bank secretariat will not be responsible for the failure by the bidder to pay the bidding document in time for the bidding for bid dropping due to late arrival, delayed processing of the order of payment, collection order, and late payment of the bidding documents. Okay, instruction and purchase of bidding documents, also loss of the order of payment and supporting documents already released issued by the bank secretariat is not the responsibility of the bank secretariat. Only the signatory may cancel and order made for canceled projects due to no funds approved, released, and for disapproved modification and or for late release projects that have already exceeded the 3-month period for award are non-refundable as a matter of policy of the DPWH Regional Office 5. Okay, instruction and distribution in drafting of bids. Follow the checklist of the technical and financial document requirements uploaded with the bidding documents for the contract to be bid out. Absence of any required documents shall be considered as failure of compliance with the required documents and non-compliance of the bidder. Chronologically arrange the documents in accordance with the checklist for the technical and financial documents. Provide and text out in pagination and securely bind the documents. Affix initial on all pages of the documents. The initials on the pages together with the pagination affirm the original. Instruction in submission and drafting of bids. Letter A. Place the original technical document in an envelope and securely seal it. Put a marking on the envelope containing the following text: original technical document, the name of the document in the name and address of the procuring entity, the contract ID in the name of the project, and indicate do not open before 10 a.m. on March. Original technical and financial envelopes into one outer envelope. Label the outer envelope as original bid, including the other text for the marking. Do the same above procedures for the copy by marking the envelopes as copy 1 for the technical and financial envelopes as well as the outer envelope. it in copy 1 in one mother envelope and put the marking containing the text, name of the bank chairman in the name and address of the procured entity, the contract ID in the name of the project, and indicate. Do not open before 10 a.m. of March 5, 2024. Okay, this is the sample of the presentation of your envelope. From the mother envelope, it contains the original and of course the copy 1, containing therein the technical documents, financial documents, and the outer envelope. Of course, also another envelope for the copy 1 contains technical documents and financial documents. Other important matters, prospective bidders are encouraged to conduct site inspection for them to determine whether this is the right project for them. The minutes of the pre-bid conference will be posted in the back bulletin board, and prospective bidders are encouraged to read the minutes. Prospective bidders are also encouraged to regularly visit the postings, the field tips, and DPWH website to keep themselves abreast of the supplemental bid bulletins that may be issued by licenses and or accreditation, whichever is applicable. Possible causes of failure of bidding are: number 1, no bids are received; number 2, all prospective bidders are declared ineligible; number 3, all bids fail to comply with all bid documents or fail post qualification; or number 4, the bidder with the lowest calculated responsive bid refuses without justifiable cause to accept the award of contract, and no award is made in accordance with Section 40 of the Act and its IRR. Okay, that ends our pre-bid presentation. And any back members? Okay na po yan. So with that, thank you for joining us. And back members at TWG and back secretary, thank you. And this pre-bid conference is now adjourned.
Thank you po. Tapos na rin yung lahat ng activity natin, di ba?
Yes, sir. May ready na.